ready to take flight. We're tackling Pegasus today. So we've got his origins, his adventures, and even how he becomes a constellation. But I gotta say, what really grabbed me right off the bat
What's that?
was his birth talk about a dramatic entrance.
It's pretty wild, isn't it? I mean, born from the blood of Medusa,
Yeah?
when Perseus slays her, it's not your typical, welcome to the world moment.
Not at all. And Medusa herself, right? She's this terrifying Gorgon.
Oh, for sure.
So you've got this intense contrast between the violence of his birth and then this image of a pure white horse with wings.
It's a powerful image, and it really speaks to a lot of what we see in Greek mythology.
That duality, right? Like creation and destruction,
Yeah.
beauty and terror, it's all there like right from the start with Pegasus.
And then there's this detail about springs bursting forth wherever he strikes his hoof.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't help but think about inspiration.
It's such a vivid image, isn't it?
It is like that sudden burst of creative energy.
And it actually connects to another one of his key roles, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, carrying Zeus's thunderbolts.
Oh, wow.
So you've got these springs essential for life and these bolts of divine power.
Okay, so we're talking about inspiration that's not just artistic. It's almost divine.
Right. It's this raw, untamed force that can both nurture and destroy.
It makes you think about the heroes who try to achieve great things, but then risk being consumed by their own ambition.
Exactly. And that brings us to Bellerophon, right? The human hero who actually manages to tame Pegasus.
With a golden bridle, no less.
A gift from Athena herself.
Yeah, it's like Bellerophon's story really highlights this relationship between humans and the divine.
He's trying to harness this incredible power.
But it ultimately leads to his downfall.
Yeah, because of his hubris, right?
Hubris, that excessive pride.
Yeah.
The classic tragic flaw.
You can't get too big for your britches, even if you're riding a winged horse.
Right, and there are actually different versions of the myth
Really?
about how he falls.
No.
Some say he falls from Pegasus trying to reach Mount Olympus.
Oh, wow.
Others say Zeus himself strikes him down for his arrogance.
So whether it's a physical fall or divine punishment,
Yeah.
the message is clear.
Yeah.
There are limits
There are.
for human ambition.
It makes you think about what happens when we rely too heavily on things we can't control.
Yes, and I think it's also a reminder Pegasus is more than just a tool for heroes, right?
Mhm.
He's this force of nature.
Right.
Ultimately, he answers to something greater.
And speaking of defying human control, even after Bellerophon's demise, Pegasus continues to serve Zeus.
Right.
Carrying those thunderbolts talk about resilience. Yeah, like he transcends the limitations of mortal life.
Totally. And eventually he even becomes a constellation,
Immortalized in the stars.
a permanent fixture in the night sky. You have to wonder what it was about certain figures that made the ancient Greeks honor them that way.
It's a great question.
What are they trying to say, about themselves and their world?
Exactly. It's like, were they preserving stories or honoring certain ideals?
Right. Courage, wisdom, good versus evil.
And it's funny you mentioned that because with Pegasus, you don't really get that classic hero narrative.
That's true.
Like he helps Bellerophon slay the Chimera monster with like all those heads.
Yeah, the Chimera.
And then you've got Bellerophon on this magnificent horse battling this embodiment of fear.
It's so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't help but notice the irony.
What's that?
Well, Pegasus represents freedom,
Mm-hmm.
but he's ultimately used to enforce divine will, even punishment, like those thunderbolts.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? You've got this boundless freedom, the ability to soar, and then this very specific and often destructive purpose.
I was thinking about those hoof springs too,
Yeah.
and I wonder if they inspired specific art forms or just this general sense of creativity.
That's a great question. I mean, it's easy to associate them with art, right?
Right.
But maybe it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
What if those springs represent a kind of life force, a wellspring of potential that can manifest in all sorts of ways?
I like that.
I mean, Pegasus isn't just connected to poets and musicians.
Yeah.
You see him with heroes, warriors, even kings.
So it's not just art then.
No, it's anything that needs that spark, that something new, that something powerful.
And maybe that's why we still connect with Pegasus today.
You think so?
Yeah, even though, we live in such a different world.
Yeah.
But there's still that yearning for boundless potential to break free from limitations.
To soar to new heights.
Exactly. Think about how often you see Pegasus today, even in logos and emblems.
It's true. He's everywhere.
It's like he still speaks to something deep within us.
I wonder if it's the power of symbols, how they transcend time and culture.
And still resonate.
Yeah, connecting with something fundamental in us.
So I gotta ask,
What's that?
if you could ride Pegasus, where would you go? What challenges would you face?
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, I don't think it would be about the destination.
Really?
No, it would be the journey itself. Pure freedom, breaking through barriers, experiencing the world in a whole new way,
I love that it's like he's not just transportation, guide.
leading us towards our own
Oh,
potential.
who knows what we might find along the way.
Exactly. Maybe we'd even encounter our own chimera.
Ooh, our own personal demons.
Yeah, the fears and doubts that hold us back.
Facing those while soaring above the world.
Wow.
What an image. The ultimate test of courage. It's like these myths that give us these metaphors that we can apply to our own lives.
Yeah. Pegasus, with all his power and grace and danger and inspiration, he really makes you think.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
His birth, the symbolism of the springs and the thunderbolts.
And Bellerophon's story. And how Pegasus has been interpreted over time. How he still inspires people today.
Yeah, you can tell from the stuff you share that you've given this a lot of thought.
Yeah, and talking about it with you has definitely sparked some new ideas.
I feel that way too.
That's what I love about these conversations.
Yeah.
They never really end.
It's been awesome exploring this with you.
Same here. I always love sharing these stories.
And for everyone listening, I hope this has inspired you to maybe check out some myths.
Or revisit some old favorites.
Yeah, there's a whole world of stories out there.
And who knows, maybe you'll even find your own Pegasus, waiting to take you on an adventure.